Can you hear me as a test?
Yep.
Okay, good. Good, good. A couple minutes yet. Okay. Clock in here is getting slower and slower. I'll make sure that I've turned on the additional videos for this lecture. Module. It's hard to believe we're in week 6.
Welcome to this video on finding the critical path on a project network.
Okay.
I'll be working with this activity schedule for a project.
So I don't know what's blooming, but boy, is it eating me up right now. Okay, so we got 24 of y'all in here. Good. All right. So we're going to get started. We probably won't run the full 45 minutes today based upon this. I think it's a pretty simple concept, and we will begin the process. We're going to talk about project management. How do we manage projects, especially large, complicated projects? How do we predict when a project's going to be completed with some degree of certainty? And so we want to make sure that you have the basic understanding of how to do that. There are several different approaches to do this. One of the ways we're going to learn today is related to identifying the critical path of a project. So we're going to start down that process here, and back. I'm not sure what's 202. And as I've said before, I expect you to turn on your video. So we can start here. So I can go into what we got going on. Okay, so I'm going to adjust the camera just a little bit so you can see the board a little bit better. Well, there's a lot of reflection there. Let's start there. So we're going to have a chart initially that looks like this. And it's going to have the task. It's going to have the number of days of that task. Could also be weeks or months, but we're going to use days in this case. And then you're going to have what we call prerequisites. Okay, so we're going to have, in this case, I'm just going to put up 5, A, B, C, D, and E. So these are 5 tasks. Let's say the first one's only going to take 1 day. We're going to say the second one's going to take 5 days. 3 days, 4 days, and 3 days. And now we want to say, okay, A won't have a prerequisite, so it's just going to put a dash here. But in order to start B, A is a prerequisite for B. We're going to say C doesn't require one, but D requires that B and A be complete. And E requires D be complete. Some tasks have to be sequential, and so that's what this table represents. All right, so how would we begin to go and use this information to decide, okay, I want to manage this? We're going to create a chart, a graph of this data. So we're going to start with A. We're going to make it pretty simple. We're going to do just 2 things with A to start with. And actually, you do it usually this way. Let me change my drawing. Okay. So for A, the earliest start date, and that's called ES, would be day 0 of the project. And the earliest finish date, EF, is 1 day. Does that make sense? Pretty simple. So then we're going to go, okay, B, it says B over here. What up, B? Make sure I'm not drawing off the chart. So you take the earliest finish date in A, and you're going to put it in the earliest start date for B. Because you can't start B before A is finished. How long does B take? B has a duration of 5 days. So it's going to be 1 plus 5, which is going to be 6. And that's your earliest finish date for B. Everybody get that? Now, C can start anytime. It doesn't have a prerequisite. And it lasts for 3 days. And so it can start, earliest start date for it, ES and EF. You don't have to put these letters up here every time. But I'm doing them just for explanation here. The earliest date it can start is on 0 and then finish in 3 days. Now it comes to D. It gets a little complicated. D. Can you see me over here? I'll turn the screen a little bit. Maybe that'll cut down on some of the glare too. I don't know. Let me see if I turn out the lights. I'm not sure you can even see me. Can you see the board? Is that
Yeah,
better?
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's better.
Okay, so now we have, I got to do it in the dark, but so we know that C has to feed into D. Is that right? Yes, not C. Oh, that's what I did wrong. It's not A, it's C. B and C feed into D. So so D can't start until both C and B are complete. So what's the earliest start date that you could start D? And the answer is, you look at the earliest finish dates here and here, you take the longer of the two. So it's going to be 6. You can't start until day 6. And it lasts 4 days. So it's going to take day 10 is the earliest before it's going to be finished. Everybody with me on this? You'll be doing a lot of these. And finally, the last one is E. E can't start until day 10. We know that. It's going to take 3 days. Oops, it takes 3 days. And so it's going to finish on day 13. So how long does it take to do this project?
13 days.
13 days, at least according to the calculations we've done with the earliest possible start date and end dates. So the critical path is the longest path through your matrix. This is a simple one. You can have ones that's hundreds of units long, tasks long. And so the longest in this one is going to be A, B, D, and E. So the critical path in this project is you can finish, got to finish A, B, D, and E. That's your critical path. Critical path means that you have no opportunity to miss a date for completion of a task without adjusting the completion time out on the other end. So if you start through this project and something happens on day one and task A doesn't take 1 day, it ends up taking 3 days, the entire project gets set back 3 days. Same thing works out here on D, where we were saying that this took 3 days, 4 days to do that task, but if it ended up taking 5 days, it means this goes to 11, that's 11, and suddenly this is day 14 in reality. Very simple concept. Okay? Let's do another one. So typically, if you're building a house or have some construction project going on, and if you're the manager of that, you'll have this long task list of things that have to happen in order to get the project finished. And that's critical because you don't want to just skip around and do things arbitrarily. You want to make sure that you're saying, okay, I've got so many days to get this project done. This project might take 120 days to finish. Therefore, I've got to hit certain milestones so that I can be accountable to my constituents that are stakeholders that are concerned if I'm going to finish this on time or not. And in the construction business, in project management, time is money. You can also anticipate where there are going to be problems by doing these out more carefully. So let's adjust this. We're going to move this over a little bit. Right here. We have the task, we have the days, time, and we have the prerequisites. Okay, and we're going to be A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And I don't have to use letters here. I could use something else. But in this case, that's what we're going to do. We're going to say A is going to take 4 days. B is going to take, I'm randomly making these up, 2 days. C is going to take 3 days. D is going to take 5 days. E is going to take 1 day. F is going to take 2 days. And G is going to take 3 days. And prerequisites, you don't have one for A, and you don't have one for 5 or D. And so A has to be completed for B to be done, and B and D have to be completed in order to get C finished. E requires that D is complete. F requires E to be complete, and G requires, G requires F and D. Let's see how that works. Not sure about this last one. I don't have that in my head yet. So it's real simple. You just start with A. Decent sized circle around it, 2 slashes through it, divide them in half. We'll use these bottom ones in another class. I want to teach those. And there's a video up on the, the videos for the week. It's down near the bottom, related to this very issue, and you go through and watch it and learn and review about this. So A, it takes 4 days, just so we know. It starts on day 0, and so that means the earliest it can be completed is in 4 days. Good. Go to B. B requires it B come right after A. So earliest B can start is on day 4, and the soonest it can finish is on day 6. Now C, we'll come back to C. We're going to jump down and get D. D could start, there's no prerequisites for it, so it could start on day 0. And it takes 5 days. C requires both B and D be complete. So what's the earliest day that C can start?
Day 6.
Yeah.
Yep, 6. Okay. And it takes 3 days to complete it, so it's day 9. All right, so now we go down to E. E requires that D be completed. When can E start?
Five.
5, day 5. Exactly right. And it's just, and it finishes on day 6. It's 1 day. All right, F. F goes off of E, prerequisite. It's 2 days long. When can we start it?
6.
6, and we'll finish on 8. And we've got G. Yeah, this shouldn't have been D. This should have been C. I knew I had an error in there. Memorizing. And G, go up here, I'm off the screen now. G. We'll have C and F feeding into it. What's the earliest day G can start?
9.
9. And the reason it's 9 is because F is only 8. And if both of these have to be finished before you can start G, you take the longest day. So it's 8 versus 9, so it's going to be day 9. And G is 3, so it's going to be 12. So how many days is this project?
12.
12 days. You see how our chart gets more and more complicated? It looks like you have more and more days. If you added up the total days involved here, that doesn't come up to be 12. But you arrive at that number by following the path through this. Now, what's the longest path through this project? going to be A, B, C, G. Why couldn't it be D, E, F, G?
Because you still need C, so it takes 9 days at least for C.
Well, the critical path is the longest path through it. So this one has 4, and this one has 4. But why would A, B, C, G be the critical path? And the answer is there are no gaps in time for this one, or the fewest number of gap days. You can go here, you actually have one gap day, right? What's called slack, right here between the start, the end of this one, and the start of that one. So the answer is A, B, C, and G. So I'm going to send an email and I'll post it inside Canvas. There are 3 problems I want you to do. It's just like this. I want you to watch the video, and it's also going to trace it backwards through it, which is called the backward pass. And I want you to learn to do the backward pass. And so there are going to be 3 problems in the homework in the book. And I want you to do those 3 problems, and you'll turn that in Monday.
Midnight Monday or midnight? I mean, when we get to
I always
class.
make things do midnight on a given day.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Yes, midnight on
Okay,
Monday.
thank you. I didn't know if you wanted it ready for class or.
No.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm still struggling getting all the grading done. I didn't realize I was behind 2 assignments. And so I got another assignment and a half completed grading. And I'll try to finish one. I'll do 1.5 more today, and that'll get me caught up. So this is a 50-point assignment, and you'll have 3 problems that you're going to do on it. You will see these types of problems on the final and on a test. So watch that video very carefully. Everybody can find that video? I will pull up and show it to you real quick. Let's go. I need to share my window here. Okay. Share screen. Okay, so inside of Canvas, videos for the week. There's Monday's lecture, a series of videos related to operations, productivity calculations. We're going to do more with that. There will be a Wednesday class lecture placed in there. And then this video is one I want you to watch. It's on critical path analysis and learning how to use that. Everybody can see that? We good? Okay.
I do.
So in about 10 minutes, I will send you an email saying, here we are. We are the 3 problems I want you to do. I meant to bring them up here when I came to class, and I could have told you them, but I'd forgotten. And then you'll do those, and it'll be due on Monday. Okay? Any questions?
I got one unrelated to that.
No, sir.
There was a test, two tests, one for dimensional analysis, and then there was a different one. And I thought we were going to do some more dimensional analysis stuff. What I want to know is, do we need to go ahead and take those that are in there, or are we going to go back to
No,
that
no, no.
later?
All tests I'll give are separate. No, don't do anything else.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
I'll
they're
give
already
you a
in.
specific assignment when to do them. And
Okay.
I'm trying to get all the grades in the book because we're in week 6 and midterm is the end of week 8. And I would like to have all of your grades current in the books before, so you know where you are. And if you're missing something, go back and look and contact me about it. There are people who are missing things, and we need to have a conversation about that. Or if you received a 0 on assignment, that means I missed it when I graded it. And so and maybe you sent it to me via email and I missed it, that's fine. Generally, what I tell you is you have to upload in order to allow things to get in. So, Patrick, you're saying Jesse's having trouble with what related to the video? I do give you the URL so you can go directly to your browser and do it if you're having trouble with Canvas allowing you to see it. Yeah, I want everybody to know very plainly where their grade is in this class. There'll be no surprises for any of us. So kind of go from there. And none of you are doing terribly in it. Okay, any questions on this? All right. So you're going to do these on a separate sheet of paper, scan them, photograph them, and upload them. I would prefer you to put all of your pages in a PDF. It makes it easier to review if you do that and grade. And if you don't know how to put multiple images in a PDF, then you need to look that up in YouTube, because that's a life skill, business life skill you need to know how to do. So, all right. If you don't have any further questions, you'll be hearing from me via email very shortly. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you on Friday. Bye.
Bye.
See you, sir.